Hi Daisy, my name's Robert, and I'm looking forward to be able to visit with you today. So, just whatever you share is very confidential between you and me, with some of the informed consent details that I shared with you earlier. But feel free to just open up and just share what you have on your mind.
Um, yeah, I feel like today I come a little offended and frustrated. I was trying to explore my options with different therapists and see what would be my better fit.
Mm,
Um, and I purposely picked someone that's out of my race just because I want to have different inputs and perspectives on the
mm,
things that I'm going through, and it was a really not great experience the first session.
mm,
As I started talking about what I want to work on, the therapist immediately told me that she feels that I should go to a therapist that's of my race and that
mm.
speaks Spanish predominantly, so
Yeah.
she can understand me and my problems, I guess, more, which I don't know. I kind of took it offensive because it's not like I was talking in Spanish. I was talking like
Mm,
how I am now in English.
yeah.
Um, so I kind of felt like she was putting a label on me, kind of saying, "Oh, well, you know, like my race of his being Hispanic, we only talk Spanish when we don't." So I just felt really, I guess, called out.
Mm. Yeah, I can only imagine what it must have felt like. And, you shared that you went to this therapist on purpose that was different than you to because you value having a multicultural experience. And so to hear that type of reaction, it would have been really devastating.
Yeah, it was devastating because I feel like I was kind of putting myself out there and trying something new. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I do would like, like a different perspective to my problems rather than someone who is Hispanic and knows, for example, like how Hispanic parents are, how they're strict and all these different things. And I feel like the one time that I was strong and I did it, it just kind of backfired on me. And
Mm,
um, yeah, I guess you can say I just felt a little bit like belittled at that moment.
yeah.
Um, and I've never felt like that. And I don't know, it's just like really hard to label how I feel because I've never felt like this before.
Have you, yeah, you share that you've never felt like this before. Are you referring to the experience that you had in the office with a therapist, or are you referring to, have you experienced this before, outside of a therapeutic office, like in your
Um,
day to day?
I feel like I've maybe like small scenarios besides the therapist's office, but it's never been um in a form where it like literally like labels me and
Hmm.
makes me feel like, okay, then I guess I'll just leave. Um, mhm.
I mean, so there is something that many people have experienced before, and you can just tell me yes or no if this is accurate to your experience on the day to day, or if this is or if this was accurate to how you felt with the other therapist. And a lot of times people can experience something called being an alien in their own land, which is you are in the same room, you're in the same community, but you feel like you just don't quite belong.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a way to put how I felt,
Mm,
specifically like in that room. I just felt like I said, like I didn't, like, should I just like leave? Like, what do I do? Like, I felt really belittled and uncomfortable at that moment. And
yeah,
yeah, you made me like realize like how I can label how I felt, and that's exactly how I was feeling.
yeah. Well, what I will just be attempting to do is to help encourage you and to be here to help listen. And if there's anything that I do accidentally, and like just anything that you feel like that you would feel belittled by me, something that I may do, and I know I try to do my best, but as you can see, like I may make a mistake, um, and so what I want to do is like I would love it if you were able to help tell me about if I make you feel belittled, because that's not going to be my goal. And in fact, I want to help in our next session. We're going to explore that more. I'm going to love to hear a little bit more about what you mean by belittled. That's a word that you used a few times, and how we can help uh, strengthen you and build you up, um, but to address these concerns and to address what you feel.
Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming in, and I'll be looking forward to for our next session.
Okay.
All right.
Um, that was really, really good. I feel like
Oh,
I did bad compared to you.
oh,
Um,
no.
I think just like the way you opened it up with like the consent form or like a little
Oh,
consent phrase, like it made me feel like, I don't know, just like safe.
yeah.
Um, so I really like appreciated that. And also, like it just seemed like you were just really processing what I felt. And you gave back like statements that were true about my emotions. And I also really liked how you said, I don't know how you said it, but you said,
Mm,
I'm gonna read something and you tell me if you relate to it. I feel
okay.
like that was really, I don't know, I feel like it was like that switch where like you talked and I listened, like it was really like interactive.
Okay.
And it made me feel like, yeah, like, like that's exactly how I feel. And it made me feel like, okay, well, he's trying to dictate how I feel so he can actually like help me. So
Mhm,
yeah, that really made me feel attuned. And I feel like it made me like say in my head, it's like, okay, well, my last therapist was like a bad experience,
mm,
but I feel like this one would actually be like good.
mm.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I thought that yeah, my experience like um yeah, it felt very natural, it felt very comfortable being able to just like listen to like what you were talking about. And um even though I kind of like knew ahead of time like what your theme was, like it didn't really occur to me how it would make me feel that you would have like a negative reaction on a therapist. And I
Hmm.
had like this moment where I was like, okay, like I don't want to um like shame the other therapist,
Yeah.
or just be
Yeah.
like, well, I'm better than that therapist.
Hmm.
But like just kind of like just letting that be like just like a moment that happened. But I wanted to be clear that it's like at the same time, it's like I could most likely do the same thing incident, like
Yeah.
unconsciously. And I, as I was saying that, and I hope it didn't like offend or like come across in a negative way, because I realized like I wondered if this could just be like another thing of like,
Mm.
I'm just waiting, like you're responsible to tell me when I do something wrong. I'm not responsible for myself.
Yeah.
And I wonder how, I was curious about how like that statement like made you feel.
No, I think you did it perfectly in a humble way where you weren't, like you said, trying to talk down or prove yourself that you're better than the other counselor, but instead you said it in a way where it's like you validated how I felt and you were like, well, we're gonna do it differently.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, good. Yeah, no, this was great. I think like for session number two, I think we would just lead right in with, I'll just probably ask if you had any more processing, any more thoughts that you had on like the therapeutic moment they have with the other counselor.
Yeah.
And then like a follow-up with, um, now that you've been made aware of like, this is like a thing, have you seen it pop up more, like, in between the sessions and just be curious about, I would probably lead with curiosity with like how it would come up, um, how this experience happens outside of the therapy, outside
Okay.
of the
Yeah.
therapeutic office. So, oh yeah, one of the questions that was like, how do you answer your clients' questions when you do not have any answers? Yeah, I did know that like I felt limited because I think like, um for like this, like it's an experience that people have, like alien in your own land, like that is so much out of my control. Like I
Mm,
can't change the way a person is going to be treated in our society. Like that can just kind of keep happening. And
yeah.
so, um I do know that's like a hard barrier to get through, is like you don't have answers necessarily
Yeah.
for other
Yeah.
people. Okay, this was good. I think I'll just stop recording
Okay.
and then I will conclude this session.